These are the 8 most tragic characters in Fallout universe. Number 1, Joshua Graham.
I have been baptized twice. Once in water, once in flame. I will carry the fire of the Holy Spirit inside until I stand before my Lord for judgment.
This guy has converted real-world Discord moderators into Christians.
Send 2-3 years Dagestan and forget.
Joshua was a Mormon missionary from New Canaan. Before Caesar's Legion became what it is, it was just a group of people in the wasteland trying to survive. Edward Sallow, who would become Caesar, was a former member of the Followers of the Apocalypse. He believed the wasteland needed order, structure, and discipline. Joshua Graham was one of his earliest allies. He became one of Caesar's earliest followers and eventually his most trusted general. As the Legion grew, Joshua became the Malpais legate, effectively second in command. When the Legion lost the first battle of Hoover Dam, someone had to be punished in a way that restores fear and control. Caesar chose Joshua Graham. He was covered in pitch, set on fire, and thrown into the Grand Canyon as an example to the rest of the Legion. He should have died within minutes, but he didn't. Members of the Dead Horses tribe found him barely alive. They took him to Zion Canyon and nursed him back to health. His skin was permanently burned.
People thought I was pink before? Yeah, look at me now.
He wraps himself in bandages, not just to hide the damage, but because the damage never really stops hurting.
It never stops burning. My skin. Every day I have to unwind the bandages and replace them with fresh ones. Exposing my body to the air is like living through it again, but it's better to be clean than comfortable.
Joshua returned to his faith. He interprets his survival as divine intervention. He believes that God spared him for a reason. He started teaching the tribe scripture. He positions himself as a protector rather than a conqueror. When you meet him in the Honest Hearts DLC, he calls himself the Burned Man. Number 2, the Master.
Master!
Before he was the Master, he was a guy named Richard Gray. Richard was part of an expedition team sent out from Vault City in the early days of the Wasteland. His group was investigating old military installations, trying to understand what was left behind from before the war. One of those locations was the Mariposa military base. Inside that base, they found vats of forced evolutionary virus, FEV, a pre-war bioweapon designed to create super soldiers. The military had been experimenting with it before the bombs fell. While exploring the base, he was separated from his team and fell into a vat of FEV. He didn't just mutate, he dissolved. Over time, the virus reshaped him completely. His body fused with the base's systems. Multiple personalities developed.
Join.
Die!
Join.
Die!
He became something that wasn't quite human anymore, but was far more intelligent than before. And when he woke up, he looked at the world and saw what humanity had done. Nuclear war, collapse, and endless tribal conflict. And, from his new perspective, he believed he had found a solution: super mutants.
We need one race.
Race!
One goal.
Goal!
Goal.
One people to move forward to our destiny.
FEV stripped away many human weaknesses. It removed radiation vulnerability. It increased strength and durability. It erased racial distinctions and physical differences. In the Master's mind, if everyone became a super mutant, there would be no more division, no more nationalism, no more petty human conflict, just one unified species. When you start Fallout 1, you don't know who the Master is. You're just a vault dweller sent out to replace a broken water chip. As you explore, though, you start noticing something strange. Super mutants aren't acting like random raiders. They're organized and disciplined. They're actively kidnapping people instead of killing them. Eventually, you trace it back to 2 major locations: the Mariposa military base and the cathedral. The cathedral presents itself as a religion, the children of the cathedral. But behind that facade is the unity.
The unity will bring about the master race.
Master!
One able to survive, or even
Thrive.
in the wasteland.
A movement devoted to transforming humanity into super mutants. When you finally confront the Master in the cathedral, he tells you humanity is flawed, that it destroyed itself through war and division, that super mutants are stronger, immune to radiation, and unified in purpose. In his mind, forced evolution isn't cruelty, it's salvation. If you've investigated Mariposa thoroughly and accessed the Brotherhood of Steel's research, you can uncover a crucial fact: super mutants are sterile. They cannot reproduce.
All the mutants I've studied have been sterile. They can't breed with another creature. If we could clean up the mutation sources, we should be able to simply outlive the mutants.
That means the Master's perfect future would eventually die out. When you present this evidence to him, the multiple personalities inside him start arguing. Some reject the conclusion, others accept it.
But it cannot be. This would mean that
All my work
has been for nothing.
If you push the conversation through, he accepts that his entire plan guarantees extinction rather than salvation, and then he triggers the self-destruct sequence. Number 3. Harold. Harold is one of the very few characters who appears across multiple Fallout games. You encounter him in 3 separate games. Fallout 1, based in year 2161, Fallout 2, based in year 2241, and Fallout 3, based in year 2277. Across those appearances, you watch the progression of his mutation that spans more than 2 centuries. You first meet Harold in the original Fallout in the hub. At this point, Harold is already visibly mutated. He appears ghoul-like, though he is not technically a ghoul. When you speak with him, he explains that he was once part of a caravan expedition that investigated the Mariposa military base. During that expedition, he was exposed to FEV. Harold describes how the exposure affected him differently. Instead of turning into a super mutant, he developed a growth on his head. He jokingly named it Bob, but Bob never stopped growing. 80 years later, in Fallout 2, you encounter Harold again, this time in Gecko, a settlement populated largely by ghouls near the remains of Vault 13. His mutation has progressed significantly. Bob has grown larger and more tree-like.
Jealous? His name's Herbert. I talk to him when I get lonely. Just kidding. His name's Bob.
When you meet Harold in Fallout 3, more than 200 years after the Great War, the transformation is complete. The Lone Wanderer encounters him in Oasis, a hidden settlement in the capital wasteland. At this stage, Harold is no longer mobile. He is fully rooted in the ground. Bob has grown into a massive tree, and Harold's body is fused into its trunk. Oasis inhabitants, tree minders, view him as a god, but that's not how Harold sees himself. When you speak to him, he doesn't sound enlightened or blessed. He sounds tired and just wants to die.
I had you brought in here to ask a very simple favor. Would you please kill me?
But the Oasis inhabitants wouldn't let him. When Harold asked them to kill him, they just think he's testing their faith.
Oh, he's testing you now, just like he tested us. He wants to see if your faith is strong by spinning these incredible stories.
You are given 3 options. Accelerate Bob's growth, allowing the tree to spread further into the wasteland, suppress the growth, slowing the ecological expansion, or destroy the heart of the tree, which kills Harold. There's 2 ways you can kill him. The first way to kill Harold is to go into the cave system beneath Oasis, fight your way to the chamber containing the heart, and ignite it with the flamer or any fire-based weapon. When you do that, Harold thanks you. The second way is much simpler and much crueler. You can just set him on fire directly, although Harold specifically tells you not to. If you do that, Harold screams in agonizing pain until he dies. Number 4. Boon. When you first meet Boon in Novak, he's standing in the dinosaur's mouth with a sniper rifle. Boon used to be an NCR 1st Recon sniper. He relocated to Novak with his wife Carla after his military service. When the Legion began operating near the town, Carla was sold into slavery by Jeannie Mae Crawford, a local community leader collaborating with Caesar's Legion. When Boon discovered what had happened, he shot his wife himself before the Legion could remove her from Novak. When you meet Boon in New Vegas, he does not immediately ask for help. Instead, he sets up a test.
My wife was taken from our home by Legion slavers one night while I was on watch. They knew when to come, what route to take, and they only took Carla. Someone set it up. Bring him out in front of the nest here while I'm on duty. I work nights. I'll give you my NCR beret to put on. It'll be our signal, so I know you're standing with him.
If you correctly identify Jeannie Mae Crawford and follow through, Boon executes her with the sniper shot. If you do this, Boon becomes available as a companion. Boon's story depends on if the NCR wins the second battle of the Hoover Dam. In the NCR ending, he remains in military service and continues operating as a sniper. If the NCR loses the Mojave, he starts drinking heavily and is eventually found lying in a ditch outside Novak with a bottle. Number 5. The Vault Dweller. In 2161, Vault 13's water purification chip fails. The Overseer selects the Vault Dweller to leave the vault and find a replacement chip within 150 days before the water supply runs out. The Vault Dweller exits Vault 13 and begins traveling across Southern California. Early locations include Shady Sands, Junktown, and the Hub. During this search, you learn of increasing super mutant activity, including organized raids and kidnappings. You find the water chip in Necropolis, a city inhabited primarily by ghouls. You retrieve the chip and return it to Vault 13, restoring the vault's water system. Upon return, the Overseer informs you of a new threat, a growing army of super mutants known as the Unity. The Overseer realizes that if the mutants keep expanding, they will eventually raid Vault 13 and turn everyone into super mutants. After the destruction of the Unity, you return to Vault 13. The Overseer meets meets you outside the vault entrance and tells you, although you have saved the vault, you can't be allowed to return.
Every youngster will look up to you and want to emulate you. And then what? They'll want to leave. You saved us, but you'll kill us. I'm sorry. You're a hero, and you have to leave.
At this point, you can either lower your weapon and walk away, or shoot the Overseer. If you walk away, the ending proceeds normally. The vault door closes and the vault dweller leaves alone. If you decide to shoot the Overseer, he dies immediately. However, this does not change the outcome. The vault still does not open for you. There is no alternate leadership takeover. The ending slides continue as usual, and the vault dweller still walks away. According to Fallout 2, the vault dweller travels north and eventually founds the tribal village of Arroyo. Over time, he becomes the ancestor of the protagonist of Fallout 2, known as the Chosen One.
One of the northern tribes claims they are descended from one such vault. They hold that their founder and ancestor, one known as the Vault Dweller, once saved the world from a great evil.
Number 6. Lily Bowen. Lily Bowen is introduced in Jacobstown, a settlement in the mountains northwest of New Vegas where super mutants and Nightkin attempt to live outside of active conflict. Before becoming a Nightkin, Lily was a human grandmother. She had grandchildren. At some point, she was captured by the Master and dipped into forced evolutionary virus, likely at Mariposa military base. The mutation transformed her into a Nightkin, a variation of super mutant engineered for stealth operations. Nightkin were heavily reliant on stealth boys during the Master's campaigns. Extended use of stealth boys has neurological side effects, the most prominent of which is schizophrenia. By the time the courier meets Lily, she is elderly even by super mutant standards and experiencing severe auditory hallucinations. She hears the voices of her grandchildren. She shifts between loving grandma mode and combat aggression. Importantly, Lily is aware that something is wrong. In Jacobstown, Dr. Henry is researching ways to reduce Nightkin's schizophrenia by adjusting stealth boy use and prescribing medication. If the courier travels with her long enough, her companion quest is triggered. Lily asks the courier to gather a holotape of her old human self from Dr. Henry. When she listens to it, she hears her own voice from before her mutation. Player is then asked to help decide her treatment path. There are 3 options. 1. Encourage Lily to take her full dosage of medication. This suppresses her hallucinations and stabilizes her mentally. However, it also dulls her memories of her grandchildren. 2. Encourage her to take a reduced dosage. This balances the hallucinations and her memory retention. She maintains some connection to her past while staying stable. 3. Encourage her to stop taking medication entirely. This preserves her memories most strongly, but allows her schizophrenia to remain untreated, increasing the likelihood of long-term deterioration. Number 7. Ulysses. Ulysses is introduced indirectly, long before you ever see him. Throughout Fallout New Vegas, you hear about another courier who was originally meant to carry the platinum chip. That courier refused the job after learning your name. That courier was Ulysses. He only appears directly in the Lonesome Road DLC. Before the events of New Vegas, Ulysses was a high-ranking scout and infiltrator for Caesar's Legion. Unlike most Legion soldiers, he was educated. He studied history, symbolism, and the idea of nationhood. He eventually discovered a settlement called the Divide. Unlike Legion territory or NCR expansion zones, the Divide was something different. It was a growing community formed organically along a trade route. He believed the Divide could become the foundation of a new nation, something not based on Caesar's brutality or the NCR's bureaucracy. But then, it was destroyed. Before the start of New Vegas, the courier delivered a package to the Divide. The package unknowingly triggered dormant pre-war military systems, missile silos activated, warheads detonated beneath the region, and the entire settlement was obliterated. The courier did not know what the package would do, but Ulysses couldn't care. In Lonesome Road, Ulysses lures the courier back to the Divide. The entire DLC is structured around this confrontation, but he doesn't ambush you immediately. He forces you to walk through the ruins, and he frames the Divide as something you erased. If you succeed in dialogue checks, Ulysses will stand down and abandon his plan to launch additional nuclear missiles at NCR and Legion territory. If you choose not to stop the launch sequence at the end of Lonesome Road, the missiles fire. The warheads strike major NCR and Legion supply routes outside the Mojave. Number 8. Diane Welch. In the Fallout TV series, Diane Welch was a member of the United States House of Representatives before the Great War. Her public persona before the bombs was uncharismatic. In one of the flashback scenes introducing her, she struggles through a speech at a veterans event. 2 centuries later, Lucy stumbles upon her head while exploring her father Hank's underground vault tech/enclave facility, eventually discovering the core of a mainframe powering thousands of mind control implants turns out to be Diane Welch's severed head. This mainframe wasn't just some generic computer, it was literally Diane Welch's brain, connected directly to the system controlling those chips.